Hello and welcome to the Film Freaks podcast. I'm Oliver.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Quinn.
And let's get right into this. Today's topic is going to be the top 10 most anticipated films of 2020. Starting with the one that's coming out this week when we're recording this. It's the Sonic the Hedgehog film coming out on the 14th of February.
Finally.
I think the main thing I want to talk about with this film is the controversy behind it with the animation of Sonic and the delays that's also come from it, because I think the one thing people wanted is for Sonic to look good and for fans who love Sonic to recognise him, and it was sort of the only things you could recognise of him was his shoes and he's blue. And the thing with that, it just didn't work at all.
Because it was like a man hedgehog rather than like Sonic the Hedgehog. He was like a man that refused of like his character and the main like this rat thing that just like
it just
horrified everyone in this sort of trailer, and just like everyone instantly just like passed film off as being like crap just from the art.
I think with the film, I'm hoping it's good. I haven't seen it yet, obviously, because it's not out yet. But I don't know if I'm going to go on release day or what, but I am really excited for this film because I love Sonic. It's one of my games I love for most of my life. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also a bit nervous because I don't know if it's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if what it's going to be is at all good. That's the problem.
I mean, you'd hope it's good because like they bullied the entire film studio into like changing a character design, and that's like so hard, and that takes like so much time and money for like the VFX department to like edit this new Sonic into like every single scene.
From what we've seen from trailers and short snippets of the film, it's sort of catering to a very young audience, if that makes sense.
Expect that, actually,
which is probably expected, because it's bringing in new fans to it, but also if you're an old fan like me, you're probably going to like it as well because it is Sonic, you know what I mean? What I also want to pick on is Jim Carrey in the film, because I love him. I think he's a fantastic actor.
Everyone loves Jim Carrey.
And his role, he's portraying as Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik, depending on where you're from. Which is because in America they call him Dr. Robotnik, which does not make sense to me. Anyway,
I never knew that.
Sonic facts. I think with it, he's that sort of awkward character that's not one way or not the other. So it's not extremely serious, but not extremely light-hearted, and you love it. He's definitely the villain of the film because he is the villain to Sonic. But I want to see what they do with him, if they make him a sort of anti-villain or sort of something like that, really.
Well, from the trailers and what you've seen of Jim Carrey in the trailers, he is pretty funny, and that's only been like a couple clips that he's been in.
I think his character was the only highlight from the Gangster's Paradise playing from the first trailer.
Wait, what? They had that?
Yeah, they had Gangster's Paradise as the song.
Because like there was an AMV made like years ago, a Sonic AMV of like Gangster's Paradise on like YouTube, and some random person.
I'd not seen that. So.
Actually, because I'd seen that actually, because everyone was talking about the Sonic AMV, and then whether they'd like actually put that song in the trailer, and then they did.
Oh, that's probably one of the best things about it. And then you just saw Sonic's design. It was like, this is not going to go well, is it?
That's some random fan just made that like years ago, like in like the early 2000s.
That is amazing. I've never heard of that, so I need to watch that now. The other thing I want to go over with it is the amount of times it's been delayed, because it's not only the time it's been delayed for the first. It's not only been one; it's been 4, and with that, you're expecting it to be good now.
Yeah,
you're expecting it to be at least better than your expectations at first, because if it's been delayed that many times, it means they've added something. Obviously, with the way of Sonic, but like they must have added like another element to the film which has made it better, other than his design. Which I don't know if that meant Jim Carrey coming into the role or something like that. but something has to have changed in it, and I'm not really expecting many of the scenes that was in the first trailer to be in the actual film.
Yeah.
Because if they had to reshoot that, they may have had to reshoot the whole thing, which you probably didn't. But you never know with these sort of films.
Yeah.
So with this, I think it's probably, even though it's the first one and it's coming out this week, it's the one I'm most anticipated for this year. Because I've been waiting for it for so long,
Yeah.
and it's coming out fairly soon. So excitement levels are pretty high. So I'm expecting a lot from it, but you never know
Yeah.
with films. And we have had bad films, especially with video games, but you know.
Mario movie.
So anyway, let's move on to the next film, which is
A Quiet Place 2. So neither of you've seen the first Quiet Place film, right?
No, I've not.
I don't know how. This film was like quite anticipated because the first one was like such a kind of surprise hit because it wasn't expected to do like that well.
Yeah.
Like expected to gross like I think maybe like 30 million in the US or some shit like that. Then I think globally it ended up grossing 304 million, which is like a lot more than they thought.
Yeah.
Because like the horror genre recently has like not been like last decade it kind of like got less and less good, you know.
I think with it was like the last sort of horror film that anybody really enjoyed.
It was a great film.
Yeah, it was like that was quite like widely like critically acclaimed, I think.
Yeah.
But so was A Quiet Place actually, because like because how different it was to most horror films.
Yeah.
So most horror films kind of like relied on, you know, jump scares, gore, that kind of shit. But I don't know if we can swear on this, but
That's fine.
A Quiet Place, like, kind of, whilst there were moments where it was kind of like a jump scare, that was more kind of like the climax of a long build-up of tension, because of how like quiet the whole film was.
Yeah.
So there was still like a very well-made like score into it, you know, like there was good music, as not to make it be too like, you know, crushing an atmosphere, but it was still quite tense throughout the whole thing, because like it was like quite well established from the start. Like, I mean, like, not to give any spoilers, but a death of like one of the members of the family in the first like few. Actually, you should have seen it by now. So the kid like, you know, like picks up a loud toy and gets killed by one of the creatures. So like, you know, in that like you learn that, you know, this is why later on in the film, like, you know, they're also like worried about family survival and stuff like that. This is why like, and you know that the creatures hunt by sound now as well. Like just from that, like you can kind of show how that all works and how sensitive it is, and kind of like it shows you how literally these creatures are everywhere, and that kind of like throughout the whole film gives you a sense of like kind of danger, because you know that like nowhere's safe really, to be honest, which is, you know, quite good for tension building. And another thing I want to mention about this about the second film here is that like people renewed their contracts for it. So the first one was so good that people were like, hey, I want to like sign up to this franchise again. And so the director from the last film I think is coming back, I believe, and Cillian Murphy is joining the cast from Peaky Blinders. Have you all seen that?
I've seen a bit of it, but not all of it.
Ryan?
I have not.
What? Oh, have you seen?
Not much, to be honest.
Podcast host about like films and TV. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you never know.
Films and TV. But like, so like I've seen him in Peaky Blinders. It'll be interesting to see how his character changes here from roles that he's played in the past. He played the Scarecrow in. I think the first Christopher Nolan Batman film, he was the Scarecrow in that, I believe. Or the second one, I can't remember which.
I've forgotten as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, they're real good films, but it's been such a long time. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how his like character changes in this. And so I think it's got like, I'm not sure what the budget is. I saw somewhere that it was like about 10 million.
So pretty low in terms of big budget films.
But I'm not sure whether that's like
100
just
million.
an estimate or whether that's going to be like.
It might have been like so far, you know what I mean? Because for animation, it can either be a lot more expensive than feature films or much cheaper. The Sonic one was 400 million, so it's a bit surprising that
It'll probably be
compared to
more
it.
than that. To
Yeah,
be
it probably
honest.
will be,
This is
yeah.
probably like an estimate that I just like someone dodging the internet that I found.
Yeah.
But like, to be honest though, we don't have to spend too much money on like the effects department because you don't really see the creatures like that often.
Yeah.
Like they already came into play like mostly in the last part of the film in
Yeah.
the first one,
Yeah.
as far as I can recall, and they were appeared like I think a couple times before that, and but it's mainly just kind of relying on like just the idea of them being there is what's like scary about it. But yeah, that's about it for me about A Quiet Place 2.
Okay, so the next film we talk about is Mulan, the Disney remake.
Mhm.
I think with this, I don't really want to go into Mulan because I've seen the film, but I don't. I want to say how well it'll go through, but I think the main thing I want to talk about is Disney's other remakes from
Yeah.
animation to live action.
Aladdin.
Yeah,
Aladdin, Lion King recently. But Aladdin was alright. It wasn't as bad, but I just didn't like the Lion King remake because
Really?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I heard it kind of like I haven't. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't seen that one, but that's probably because I enjoyed the first one so much. Like
Yeah.
that was from my childhood. I think that's why a lot of people don't like
Oh,
the remake because
nostalgia.
the first one was like so good that it's like why change it?
Yeah.
I think they're trying to do it, yes, for nostalgia, but like I just don't get why they thought it'd be a good idea to remake that film over some other films that would be so much better for it, like Mulan. I think it's going to be much better because
Yeah.
you could always see with the film it could be real life characters because it does feel more realistic compared to the Lion King,
like
obviously.
CGI lines. I
Oh
suppose.
yeah,
Yeah, because with Mulan, it's like the original story that Disney made was based off Chinese folklore. So
Yeah.
the original film that people have seen was an adaptation of an existing story. So this is going to be like more like because it's real people based off like kind of really like real events. It's kind of going to be better to watch than like a film where like you have to like make the entire cast out in like effects.
Mm.
I think it'll be much better now, which I'm hoping for. The other thing I want to talk about with it is the pricing.
Mhm.
It's currently at 125 million, which
Yeah.
is, I think, for a film that's already been made. I know it's going to be a live action.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be one of two ways. It's either going to be too much or not enough.
Yeah.
Because
Not
which
right
I think
in the
is the same with almost any film,
Yeah.
but especially with remakes because you're spending a lot of money on something you've already done,
Yeah.
but you're doing it in a different way,
Yeah.
or it's just not going to be enough to make it different.
Yeah.
And I hope they focus more on story than they do with making it live action,
Mhm.
because they could do so much better with the story. And the story was great, but I think if it was better, it would be much better
Yeah.
for the film, and it will feel different, and it won't feel as if it was just a remake, which I think if they did that, it would make it better, and I think more people would enjoy it from that.
Mhm.
So is there anything else anybody wants to talk about that film? Or
Well, what do you think about some of the, like, again, going back to the live action things that Disney have been doing, like Aladdin and stuff? Do you think that they should carry that on, or do you think it should just stop?
I think they did well with Aladdin. They didn't do well with The Lion King.
What about Beauty and the Beast?
Oh god, that's the other one. I forgot
What
about
about that?
that. Beauty and the Beast. I think they did really well with that one actually. I know there was a lot of CGI in that film as
Yeah.
well as The Lion King. I just didn't like the way The Lion King was, and most of the films they've done is good.
Yeah.
Are good. Can't speak today. But I just think they're taking the right route with Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. They're not
Yeah.
going for ones that are based on animals. And
Yeah.
I think that's another thing about The Lion King, because it was animals. They either had to have them very well trained.
Which would be, almost impossible.
It has to
but-
have CGI in it because they have to speak.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work because it should just stay as an animation in that sense.
Yeah, because apparently the problem a lot of people had is because like they couldn't really convey any emotion because
Mm.
you're literally looking at
lion
like
faces.
because like the animated lions you can make them have kind of more human expressions. You can
Yeah.
make them like show them having more like feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
With CGI lions is like it's just a lion. Like how much emotion do you
Just a
see a
lion.
lion make usually? Like,
It's
it's not very much.
Yeah, he's just confused me and just didn't enjoy it at all. So let's go on to our next film, which is James Bond: No Time to Die, which again has Daniel Craig as James Bond, which is for me a little bit surprising because he's sort of falling out with the role. He's not really enjoying it lately.
I suppose like been in that role for like a decade now.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm hoping this is a good return to form for James Bond because with Spectre was terrible in my opinion.
I haven't seen
Spectre's
I've seen it.
not great.
I enjoyed it, but it was extremely long. It was about 3 hours, something like that.
I think so, yeah.
It was an impressively long film. Like I was in that cinema for so long. Like my ass hurt after that.
It didn't feel like a James Bond film because of, not only because of that. It just all the events in it just didn't feel like it. It didn't feel fast stuff, but it felt sometimes too fast.
felt more like
they
an
go
action than a spy film.
Because they do the action they do normally is so well done because they do the action, but they slow it down from like romantic scenes. But they didn't really do that. They really sped that little bit up. Yeah, which I think they were trying to make it sort of new, but it just didn't work for me because I love a classic James Bond film. Yeah. Other things I'd love to talk about here is Rami Malek. I don't know if you've seen any films of him in.
I saw him in the Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. But if you have seen it, have you seen Night in the Museum?
I have seen Night in the Museum.
He's the Pharaoh.
Oh yeah, he's
I'm trying to think back.
I think he's a fabulous actor, and I think the role that we've been given and what we've told about him so far is that he's a sort of anti-villain. He is the main villain, but he's portraying as an anti-villain, so he's sort of nice to James, which I'm wanting to look at. Yeah, because it will give a different feel to villains in James Bond, and I'm not out for change. It's just that I'd rather it still feel natural, but it's
like
not.
Change, but as long as it's still a James Bond film.
Yes. Yeah. And the other thing, Billie Eilish, recently won, was it 5 Grammys or something like that?
A lot of Grammys.
A lot of Grammys, and with the main song for this film, I think it's gonna be good. I'm hoping it's a good song for the sake of Billie Eilish, but
for the sake of James Bond
as well. But I don't really have much to think about that one because it's sort of come out of nowhere, and I think it was January they announced it, and it was a little bit out of. I think the idea they've taken with it is well done. I just don't think it's what they should have done. It should be someone like Adele when she did Skyfall.
No.
And yeah, it should be better than Billie Eilish in my opinion. But if Billie Eilish does a good job, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, as long as it's a good song.
Yeah, and it fits with the theme of the film.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
If it's good, it's good.
So has anyone got any more opinions on James Bond, this new James Bond film?
Do you think Daniel's going to stay for another film after this, or do you think this will be his last appearance?
I like him as an actor, but I don't know. He's not if he's not enjoying the role, then no.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose he was enjoying the role like 2 films ago. He must have his family at gunpoint or something like this, because he's like he's in every James Bond film. I was probably being like, oh, I hate them now, and now he's like back in, like, oh yeah, I can't wait to be James Bond again. And it's like, okay, sure.
But the same thing, I find it a little bit selfish in a way, being like that, because it's obviously his opinion, but there's so many people who'd love to play James Bond.
And if he's not enjoying it.
Yeah, if he's not enjoying it, in my opinion, he should just leave.
I guess it's why is he still doing it? Maybe it's like the studio wants him to do it, or something like that.
Or it's not a replacement they want, or something like that.
They're waiting for the
I've also wanted to see Idris Elba as James Bond for quite a while. I think he'd be a great James Bond, but like, I'm not sure if he wants to do that or not. But I think that would be pretty cool.
So shall we move on to the next film then?
What is it?
Black Widow.
Oh.
So here I have the synopsis for this new film that's been put on the internet. At birth, Natasha Romanov is given to the KGB, which turn her into its ultimate operative. When the USSR breaks up, the government tries to kill her. In present-day New York, she's now a freelance operative who has to confront her past.
Okay.
So for actors, we've got Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow again, so that's going to be great to see her, especially after Endgame. We've got Florence Pugh plays Yelena Belova, David Harbour as Red Guardian, and potentially, as rumours have it, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Tony Stark again.
Really?
Supposedly, yeah.
Now that is actually really surprising, because if it is, he would have had to film this before his contract ended with Marvel, and I'd love him to be back, but it's at the same time I don't want to see him back after Endgame.
Yeah, I doubt he'd be back for. Well, I doubt he'd be in here for long because he's got Dr. Dolittle, hasn't he? So he's probably not got much time to film if he was doing it after the contract.
It's probably filmed before the contract, because most of the Marvel films are being recorded years in advance.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm guessing it is pre-recorded, but you never know.
So yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be a great addition if it is true. Obviously, it is only rumours. Scarlett Johansson's actually been asking Marvel for a movie for quite a while. And I'm guessing after the release of Captain Marvel, and you know how.
Oh, it had to be done after Captain Marvel.
If Captain Marvel got a movie, Black Widow's getting one soon.
I didn't like Captain Marvel. That's the only problem with it.
I haven't seen it again.
You haven't. You need to watch all of these.
I know.
It is. I think they tried. I'm not trying to be sexist, and I'm not being sexist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want. They put too much emphasis of it being a female lead. Yeah. And I think if it was a good film. It's not that it wasn't a good film. It was an alright film. It wasn't great. It just wasn't off what it could have been. It's that they put it out as it's the first. They kept saying it's the first Marvel, a female Marvel lead. It's the first female Marvel lead. It's sort of just putting away what it meant.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's great that there's
a
female lead. But like, if it was just a good film, everyone would already see that and they'd already love it.
Yeah, and I think they could have done more with it, with the character. Yeah. I just also don't like the name. I just don't think it fits with Marvel. Yeah. As it is Captain Marvel. It feels like they should be the leader. Yeah. More than. Also, to a base fan, if you've never seen a Marvel film, even Captain Marvel, okay, they should be the leader because that's their name. Yeah,
maybe it's beginners.
I think
that's it.
They could have done so much better with not only the film but the name as well. And I think it's a whole few things that they've done with it. But I'm hoping Black Widow's a great film because I love the character of Black Widow. I love Scarlett Johansson.
I'd love to see that.
A good film would be great.
Yeah. The budget's supposedly around 150 million.
Okay.
Even. So it's not, too much, but definitely enough to make a great film. Yeah. But yeah, anybody got anything to add, or move on to the next one?
I think with Black Widow, it's a very interesting character. I just don't know if it's going to work at the same time. They've always been a sort of sideline character compared to, obviously, because they've not had a film, but at the same time in Avengers, they barely have any screen time.
Yeah, so it's going to be weird seeing them right at the forefront.
It's a bit like Venom.
Yeah.
Which we might be going on to later. No spoilers. But, I think it's weird for them to be in the forefront, but I'm hoping it's a good film. Yeah. I'm really hoping because I love the character of Black Widow.
Everyone does.
Who doesn't? Let's be honest. Yeah. So, on to the next film, that is Wonder Woman. Has anyone got...
Oh, yeah. Well, have you seen the first one of this, at least? Either of you?
Please say you've seen this.
Yeah.
Or just me by myself again. Like.
I've seen it, don't worry.
Have you actually?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Well.
I've seen the trailer, if that counts.
I mean, not really. Okay, fine. So, the first one was actually very good. I mean, that was very well received. I mean, I think that was one of the biggest, the first, recent female lead superhero films that has been.
That and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I think this was a bit before that.
Yes, actually, yes, it was.
I think this was kind of the pioneer of those ones recently because we hadn't had any of those and people were why isn't there any solo female films? Yeah. And they're like, and then we got this one. It's actually really good, surprisingly.
It was. I
Not
thought
surprisingly. I guess people thought it might just be a cash grab because everyone wanted, like,
a female
a film
lead,
with a
yeah.
female lead.
I think that's
So
what Marvel did.
yeah, I
with
guess
Captain
like-
Marvel.
I guess the worry was, they're just gonna like do one with like her just as like a cash grab, like because it would just be like, wow, there's like one with a female lead now. Let's go to see that.
Yeah,
But actually, it wasn't a cash grab at all. It was a really good film.
it was.
I really enjoyed it. I actually really like the action. I really like the story as well. It's like quite different to like how most superhero films go. And
In what way? What would you
well,
mean by that?
because most superhero films, like, it's really like an average person who like gains powers or
Yeah.
or something like that, or but this was like kind of more about like, because it's really like part of a race of like extraordinary people, like just like an Amazonian or
Yeah.
whatever. It's been a while since I've seen it, so but it's just felt like a different approach to it, and I liked it's like the historical element as well,
Yeah.
because most superhero films that aren't set like in the past, and this was set in like around World War One or two or something like that.
Yeah.
Around then, so it was like quite different in that sense. It's looking like it'll be released on June 5th in the United States of this year.
Mhm.
So that'll be pretty cool. And how do you say the actress's name?
Oh,
'Cause I actually
Gal
don't know.
Gadot.
Yeah. Oh, she
I think it's that.
had originally signed on for 3 feature films with Wonder Woman, but has extended her contract beyond that now.
ooh, that's
So,
gonna be good.
which
That's
is
gonna
a
be
good sign.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she obviously wants to do like a lot more of these
I think
films.
she's
So.
enjoyed it. Hopefully the
Is it up to
scripts-
5 films?
Yeah, because she
Yeah.
originally like supposed to be, I think, 3 after her second one.
Yeah.
Now she's extended her contract beyond that, so she'd be happy to
That's gonna be a
reprise the
lot
role
of
in
films.
more films. Yeah,
It's a
gonna
bit
be pretty
like
good.
with Tom Holland and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
How
Voice
it's
crack. Oh, that was bad.
with his
That's on
character
recording.
when it, I think it's better to do it sooner rather than later. Obviously with the MCU and Sony,
Mm.
that didn't go down very well at the start, but now it's back. So I think with contracts they need to get it sorted out as soon as possible. And with Wonder Woman, they did it so well. But with Spider-Man, they did the absolute opposite. Obviously, it's Marvel and DC. But I think DC are wanting their characters more than Marvel. Because I'm not trying to throw this out there and make it so Marvel's not caring.
Uh-huh.
But it sort of seems that DC are holding on to everyone.
Well, doesn't Disney own Marvel or something like that?
Yeah.
now?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that explains why it's more money orientated now. Because Disney,
Yeah.
is like a classic kind of evil corporation, like just remaking. We all know that they
No one
remake
likes
these films
Disney
like,
other than
just to get
Disney
some like
fans. Yeah.
more money. Because like they get the whole like, and how we were talking about like in class like nostalgia, that whole thing. Like literally, that's like all the remakes. There've been so many remakes. That's because
Yeah.
that's all based on the whole nostalgia thing. Like you think, I really liked the film when I was a kid. I'll
Yeah.
go see this film. Then like they got all your money and they can like I don't know.
I think with
Making of a
Spider-Man,
remake.
Like
I
more
think with Spider-Man,
cash
it's a
grab
little bit
remake films, yeah.
disrespectful to the character in a way because it's the character. I think other than Iron Man, you think of Spider-Man as also one of the top superheroes.
Yeah,
there
I think
is.
of him as being like the main like Marvel
Mm,
superhero.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously now Iron Man is gone.
Yeah.
Hopefully, everyone's seen Endgame by this point.
I mean, if
No,
you haven't,
spoilers.
then, like, you deserve to have a
If
spoil
you,
for
if you haven't seen Endgame
So
at this
long.
point in time, then please
If they haven't
click
seen
off the
Endgame, they just
podcast.
don't want to watch Endgame. If they wanted to, they would have by now.
Let's be
Exactly.
honest, yeah. But yeah, I
Oh, yeah,
think-
well, also for Wonder Woman on extended contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The director of the first film, Patty Jenkins, like she originally only signed on for 1 film, but she's like expressed an interest in returning to direct the sequel as well.
well, that's good as
so
well.
like
'cause-
it shows that there's high hopes all round, like
Yeah.
from the cast and from the crew.
Everyone's trying to come back to.
Yeah, exactly.
Be in
It's
it.
like there
That's
seems to
gonna
be real
be
passion
pretty good,
behind.
you would have thought.
and it's good how I also love new people coming to films, but it's good that the approach they're taking. They're keeping the same person on.
Yeah.
They're making it because it was such a good film, the first one,
Mhm.
and they're keeping the elements of it. And I'm hoping it will all come into the second film,
Keeping
which
the
will be
good bits.
great.
I think that's about it for it though, because they haven't released much information about
Mm.
it. Like that's all we have
Yeah.
so far. So hopefully we'll find out more soon and more trailers.
So the next film is another animated film.
Mhm.
It's the new Minions film, which is
Oh, I'm covering this one as well.
2 in a row, mate.
Yeah, Minions: The Rise of Gru. All right. Have you seen the trailer for this?
I have.
I haven't.
You haven't seen
I
the-
needed to watch it, but I keep forgetting.
All right. Okay.
Oh no, I have seen it. Sorry, I have seen it. I've just...
Yeah.
Yeah,
There,
I have
okay.
seen it.
Good.
Sorry.
Finally, we'll see in the trailer the same thing.
Ooh.
So, have you all seen all the previous films?
I have years and years and years ago.
I have, yes.
If you watched them recently, it's fine. You can be honest here.
I have, yeah.
If you watched
I
them
have.
yesterday,
I mean, okay. You know what? I know of a million memes on Facebook, and
yeah,
memes are a bit cringe.
very overdone.
I love Gru.
Oh,
Right.
Who doesn't love
Steve
Gru?
Carell. Just Steve Carell.
It's just I love those films so much. You know, I have a real passion for the Minion film.
Yeah.
For the
Who doesn't? Let's be
Despicable Me film.
honest.
I'm going to see this film as soon as it comes out. But yeah, so the plot line, not much has been, well, it's kind of clear. Like it's literally the rise of Gru. Like you know, it's him being a
says it in
kid,
the name.
and like you know, again he's like this army of little yellow slaves, and like you know,
I like that.
building his
description.
empire. I mean, yeah, I like that description too. I mean, in the wrong context, it sounds kind of racist, but like they are little potato people, so
I think
it's fine.
Gru and his slaves.
they're taking it the
Exactly.
right direction now, because with Despicable Me 3, I like the film, it just wasn't as good as the other two. And I think that's what happens
Wait,
with
which film?
the third film when he met his brother.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't
one.
seen
No,
it?
I've seen 1 and 2.
Oh, this is another spoilers as well.
It was just
Put off
nice
by the
seeing Gru
brother's
again in
hair.
that film, but it wasn't
yeah.
as good as like the first and
It-
second one.
I just thought it wasn't as funny.
What about the Minions film? 'Cause it's technically a Minions film.
The Minions film was good. The first one, I loved it. It was, I think they needed to show that backstory. Well, they didn't need to, but I think they showed it. It makes the film
Well
much
building.
better. Definitely.
The extended universe.
And they've
The extended universe.
The
it's going to be
GCU.
Marvel, DC, and the Minions soon.
The
Three
Gru
big
cinematic
players.
universe. It's being extended.
I think with the film I'm hoping it's as good as the first Minions film
Yeah.
and the first two Despicable Me films, because both of them films, all them films are great. I'm just hoping it's not like the third Despicable Me film. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, like, the franchise as a whole has been got a bit of like flack. Like you know, the Minions kind of being like hijacked by
Yeah.
Facebook mums and that kind of
Facebook
thing.
moms.
But like, I think everyone secretly kind of likes these films, like at least a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
come on,
Everyone's
you
guilty.
have to
of
love Gru.
favourite.
Everyone's seen the Despicable Me or Minions film and
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's like, I think the audience reception will probably be quite good. I mean, like, but the trailers so far, I think, have been quite positively received. I mean,
Yeah.
judging from the like to dislike ratio on like the trailer, I think it should be pretty good. And also the cast as well. Got Kevin Hart,
Oh,
Really?
I like Kevin Hart.
Margot Robbie, if that's how you say her name.
Yeah.
And Steve Carell's coming back as well.
That's good.
And two other actors that I don't know. It's not gonna mention them, but it's fine. So it's being released July 3rd, 2020 in the United States, and apparently it's a sequel to the film Minions, technically,
Yeah.
because you saw Gru at the end of that film.
Yeah, you did, because he took the, what was it he took?
He stole something,
Yeah.
like he steals a stone in the trailer. then, like-
Oh, was it the Crown Jewels or something like that? Because it was in.
Yeah, he steals the crown jewels. something
That's
like that,
it.
Yeah. I don't know, he just does that.
That's,
And it's apparently like a spin-off / prequel to the main Despicable Me film series.
Oh, okay.
So like you kind of know exactly where it lands.
It's
in,
going to
like,
be
the-
obviously before
in the
events,
GCU.
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
GCU.
The Gru cinematic universe. So yeah, that should be all fine then. And it will be directed again by Kyle Balder, so it'll keep the kind of vibe that the previous films had.
Yeah.
So shall we move on to the next one, which is the
What's
new
next?
Ghostbusters film that's coming
Right.
out.
There's another one.
Yes, there is
Oh.
another one.
Do we need any more Ghostbusters films?
Please don't be like the last one.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I was
Um,
happy with like no Ghostbusters film. No.
Just stick at 1 and 2. We didn't need any more. Alright, so this is the story so far. A single mum and her 2 kids move into a small town and discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. So, that's the story.
It's an interesting take.
Yeah.
It's one that's been done before, let's be honest, in other films. It's nothing new. I'm just hoping it's not like the last film, because the last film was
Yeah.
just, again, like Captain Marvel, I'm not
just
just
being sexist, but
banking.
cash grab.
Yeah, banking on that.
Yeah. So for the actors, some of the old cast are returning.
That's good.
Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Ernie Hudson, and Annie Plotz.
Okay.
Along with some new faces, Paul Rudd,
Ooh.
from Ant-Man films, McKenna Grace, Carrie Coon, and Finn Wolfhard.
Oh, Finn. I love Finn Wolfhard.
Where's he from? I've seen his
Stranger
face
Things.
before. Thought so.
And also the second It film, I think.
Was he?
I think he was in it, or something like that. He was definitely in another horror.
He was in the It films, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love him as an actor.
Alright, so on the topic of the old film, I'm looking forward to this one, but that 2016 Ghostbusters, it only had 2.5 stars out of 10. It wasn't
That is
well liked.
for Ghostbusters film.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
It was, shocking. That was mainly, or most people's reason, because of the all-female cast.
Mm.
Obviously, it wasn't a great film as well, but many people saw the female cast as unnecessary,
Yeah.
just a cash grab.
And also the film, in a way, was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, to be honest. It wasn't
I
good.
think with this new film, they're bringing in new characters, which I think will work.
Yeah,
Um,
if it's played well.
and they're also bringing about older characters. I think that's what they should have done in the first place. If they
Yeah.
did that in the first place, I'd have been fine. It's just they just changed the whole formula and it didn't work.
Yeah,
So they bring back older characters, which is great. So
I can't wait for that,
yeah,
especially Bill Murray. The budget of this film, hinted by Dan Aykroyd, was under 100 million, and the 2016 film was 144 million. For the 2016 all-female Ghostbusters, that
Wow.
would cost 144 million, and then Ghostbusters 1 and 2, 30 million and 25 million. So it went from 30 million to 25 million and shoots all the way up to 144.
how much did they make back from that? I'm guessing barely much.
Yeah,
barely
not a
from
lot.
that film.
So, yeah, honestly though, I am looking forward to this film.
I'm hoping it's going to be better than the
Yeah,
last
hope
one.
they
That's
can
all I'm
bring it
hoping
back,
for.
because I think the Ghostbusters name has kind of
Gone.
been ruined a bit. So I hope they can bring that back. And I think this film could do that.
I mean, think like people's problem with it is like it keeps like digging up the corpse of like
Yeah.
the Ghostbusters franchise and just like making it dance around
Yeah.
some money. Then it's like people are like, well, why are you making
Make
more
it dance
Ghostbusters
around
films?
for money,
Like
chuck it back in the grave.
exactly, and dig up later again for more money. It's
Yeah.
like, well, why would you even need to make it any more? Like first like Ghostbusters films, like happy with those are great. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's a similar thing to Disney. It's like, why do you keep making like
Remakes
these
and stuff.
remakes when
Yeah.
like you should be making like original films.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be hard to make a new film, but of any genre because it's already been done before.
Yeah.
But they could have done something new.
Yeah.
I mean, it is possible. I mean, you've seen things like Moana. That was like a good film.
Moana was a great film.
A Quiet Place, but like I said earlier, that was like a very different film for like
Mm.
the horror genre. But that was like, obviously there's like knockoffs of that as well.
Yeah.
So
Can't say the same thing for Sonic, but sure. Anyway, shall we move on to the penultimate film we've got today?
So,
And it's the second Venom film.
Venom 2. Right. So here's the plot again, as we know. Actually, it's unknown. We don't set it up. Don't know anything about it. We do know that Cletus Cassidy, also known as Carnage, is in the film.
Ooh.
That's
as
good
has
then.
been teased in Venom 1
That's
right at
good.
the end. He's played by Woody Harrelson,
Oh my god.
who will
I
do a
love him.
great
that
job.
actually
I love
works. Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
I
that'll
can
be
see
a
that.
great job. Like after seeing him in like Double Tap and just Zombieland Double Tap,
I love this film.
I think he'd be a great.
I'm really excited now
Yeah.
for this film.
I think it'd be a great Carnage. The actors, Tom Hardy comes back as Eddie Brock or Venom.
Good.
Woody Harrelson as Cletus or Carnage. So I still can't wait to see.
I just want to see Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch it just for Woody Harrelson. Michelle Williams playing Anne Weying, Reed Scott as Dan, and Naomi Harris plays Shriek, or
Okay.
Cletus's love interest in the film. So that'll be interesting to see. Right, so in this film we're obviously introduced to that new symbiote, Carnage, who's, how to put it, a mass murderer.
Okay.
And obviously going with Cletus, who is again a serial killer, it kind of mixes together into a pretty bad day. I don't know if you have you heard of Carnage?
Oh yeah, I've
No,
read
I
the
have,
comics
yeah.
for all those things.
He was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game. If any of you have played that.
I have not played that.
I
but
have.
I've read the
Oh
comics.
my god, that game.
Is it
It
bad? Is it?
it was alright.
Yeah, it was mediocre.
For the time, it was probably actually alright.
Yeah.
But
Back when I was a kid playing it, it was the best thing ever.
what was it on? Was it the PS2?
Yeah, it was PS3, PS4.
Oh, PS4.
PS3,
Yeah, 'cause
PS4,
Sony
Xbox 360,
fucking-
and
yeah,
Xbox
they-
One.
That was
Cool.
that generation.
Yeah, different Spider-Man 2.
I get PS3, PS2 mixed up all the time.
Yeah. So we're introduced to Carnage, which is going to be great. Cletus is a prison inmate in the film, so
Okay.
I'm guessing he's going to be breaking out and killing a lot of people in the process because that's just what he does. I think Woody Harrelson will be a great Carnage because I've seen in Natural Born Killers and the Zombieland films, he can be a badass and can kill a lot of zombies. So I think he'll be great. I honestly really can't wait for this film.
Okay. Has anybody got anything else on that film? Of the second Venom film?
Just that I'm looking forward to it more now, but I know that Kanye's gonna be in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And Woody Harrelson's playing him.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't even seen the
amazing.
first one actually, to be honest.
So
If-
the thing is, even though Carnage is in it, it's not going to be R-rated. So even though there's
Really?
going to be like murder and killing and
How does
shit,
that work?
it's not going to be R-rated.
Well, these
apparently.
characters like it really should be.
Yeah,
Like how it's like got to think like how they make it not R-rated.
you bring in one of the most gory characters and not making him
If-
R-rated.
If it's if we're going to make any Carnage films, which we're probably not going to do because it's not really a standalone character, but if they
Yeah.
do, please
Nice
keep
to
it as
see.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah,
Please, I would love that.
I love that cast.
Woody Harrelson in the MCU, please.
Please, I'd love it.
What's our next film
And the
That's-
last film we've got is The Eternals, which I'm going to
Mhm.
take a look at.
then? What is that?
It's a new Marvel series of films that we're making,
Yeah,
which is from the comic book The Eternals.
yeah.
But barely anything has been detailed on the film other than it is coming
Yeah.
this year.
You've got the name.
I think it's in
coming.
November time. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But it was announced at Comic-Con, which I think was a very good move
Mm-hmm.
because it's very known for its comic books
Yeah.
as a group. The casting, I don't really know many people in there, and I didn't really highlight it in my notes, which does not help at all. But I'm excited for it because it's a new series, and we haven't seen any of them characters in a Marvel film before,
Yeah.
which is great. And I think they are taking a good role with this, and it's sort of the Avengers without the Avengers,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Which I think, if they're taking a new subline to that, is interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it's not too dissimilar, if that makes sense. But you never know with it.
I think this film, I don't know why, but it reminds me of Shazam.
Yes.
It really does.
Yeah. There's not much really to talk about it, but there's a lot of people excited for this film,
Yeah.
which is why we put it on here.
Or any Marvel film.
Any Marvel
is gonna
films,
be
highly. But which is a bit upsetting because we haven't really got much to go off because we haven't got a old film. We haven't really got many trailers for it. It's only really been the announcement at Comic-Con.
Yeah. And still people are really excited about
There's
it.
a lot of people
Like,
excited, yeah.
Tiny bit of information and still everyone's so excited.
It's because it's a Marvel film, let's be
Yeah.
honest. What do you think about it, Ethan?
I haven't really seen anything about it, to be honest. I haven't seen like any trailers for it or anything like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's fair enough, to be fair.
I haven't even heard it was good coming out, to be honest.
I haven't even heard of the Eternals until
Nope.
I heard about the film.
I had
coming
read
out.
a few comics of it, and it was really good, but I don't know how they're going to take it. I would love, they're obviously not going to do this, but I would have loved if they took the comic book style like they did with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
If they did something like that, that would have been brilliant, but they're not going to do that, which I
Yeah.
think is probably a good call as well.
There should be more films like Spider-Man. and
They're making a
Spider-Verse,
new
though.
one, which I'm really excited for,
Okay.
but it's not this year, unfortunately.
That's probably going to be a
'Cause-
while.
yeah.
That's going to take a long time to make.
So, we wanted to know from you guys. We're going to put a poll. We're going to link it in the description of his podcast. we want to know what film you're most excited for, if it is one of these.
If it's not, please let us know, because we'd love to know, what other films people are interested in.
And make sure you follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. We'll put all them links in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching this podcast today, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.